someone was like, oh, I moved here a year before you. You should try this restaurant. Like we were exchanging information naturally, right? And then it was just that light bulb of like, this would be so much easier if this was in one place, because if I didn't meet you, I don't know if I would have figured out this information, because Google is kind of hit or miss. So that's kind of what really planted the seed. So a few days later, I was telling my mom about that whole kind of conversation, and like, yeah, it would be cool if I can create something like this, because Mom, remember when I moved to West Palm Beach, I was going through the same thing. It's kind of like someone that knows your life. So you're kind of talking, speaking about it out loud. And she was like, you should just go for it.
You're listening to the Rich State of Mind Show, the podcast made to make you the total package in the entrepreneurial world and give you what we call a rich state of mind. If you are here looking to learn about real estate investing, marketing, elevating your business, and developing your mindset to get to the next level, then you are at the right place. Stay tuned and be sure to join our community on richstateofmind.com. Now here's your host, Anthony Ritchie.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Rich State of Mind, where I'm talking to Diamond Young. Diamond is the founder of BLK Directory, which is an online marketing app designed to support Black entrepreneurs and provide users with an easy way to find Black businesses globally. Diamond is teaching women of color entrepreneurs and small Black business owners how to be limitless and strive in their ventures. She produces a weekly podcast show, the BLK Directory Podcast, where she focuses on sharing the stories of Black business owners with a wide lens. Definitely a different type of episode, obviously, where we're going to focus on the Black community and entrepreneurs in that community. I like this because, there's been plenty of times where I've traveled and I've wanted to find, let's just say, a barber, and I don't know where to really go outside of maybe Google, and it's a hit or miss on whether this barber is good or not. But in this directory, though, I can see like, all right, cool. There's certain barbers around here. Try them out. Leave some ratings. People are talking about it. So I think this is a really cool idea. I love Diamond's, ingenuity in this. So please stay tuned. Check this episode out. I think it'll be a great listen. Hey, Diamond, thanks for taking this time on this Saturday morning. I really appreciate you being on this podcast, this episode, because we're going to be talking about something very unique. And so, but I'm going to let you explain it. So if you could, please tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, sure. I'm Diamond Young. I'm the CEO and founder of BLK Directory, and I actually work at Twitter. So I have kind of like two different lives going on, where I have this tech side and I'm working remote. I live in Houston now, but I'm from North Carolina. And I also have an app that's for Black owned businesses, and just making sure that we are visible, we're easy to find, we're in one place. So that's just a little bit about me. And I'm excited to join you this morning.
Okay, so first I've never met anybody that works for Twitter. So explain to me, what do you do? What's the background you need in order to work for Twitter? Because it sounds like it has something to do with how you have an app for your business. So please tell us.
Yeah, it's actually like not related, but I work on the HR side. So I'm in learning and development. I went to HBCU, North Carolina A&T State University. So I went there for undergrad, and that's where I studied public relations, journalism, mass communications. And then I went back for grad school. So during my MBA program, I was like, okay, I need to get an internship. Like, I have to make this work. And I actually don't remember applying to Twitter, which is crazy. People are like, wait, what do you mean? It's like, out of sight, out of mind. And with that, I think it was just more so sometimes you don't think you can get something. So it's like you apply and you just let it go. That was how I was, just detach. If it happens, it happens. And they reached out to me. The message actually went to spam, and then they tried to reach out to me a few months later. And the rest was history. So I went out there and went to California for the first time, kind of entered into like that tech space. And I did an internship during my MBA program. And then that following year when I graduated, I went back. So that was kind of the beginning of just being around different types of people, a different space, and tech things are moving so fast. And, of course, I've been a consumer for a long time of Twitter as a user, but it was just a new world. And that's actually where Black Directory was born. So it was just more so being in that different space, moving to a different city. And I've moved a few times before, but it was something about having to start over every time I moved. Where's a Black doctor? Where's a Black therapist? Where can I get my hair done? And it was just difficult. And that frustration is kind of what fueled it, of like, I know I can't be the only one that's struggling to find these resources. Or if you don't have all these friends, a lot of times things are shared through word of mouth. Mm-hmm. But if you're not in this group me or with, you just won't have that information. So you could be living somewhere for 3 years before you find what you're looking for. So yeah, that was the beginning.
So first of all, A&T, so some Aggie pride here.
Aggie pride.
Greensboro. What part of North Carolina are you from?
I'm from Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Okay.
So it's like 45 minutes from the capital, which is Raleigh. So about 2 to 2.5 hours from Greensboro.
Actually, I went to school in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. So,
really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I never ended up going to ECSU actually, and just joined the Navy straight out of there. But
okay.
Yeah, so I know a little bit about North Carolina. I went to Greensboro, went to the campus a lot. 2008 through 2012 timeframe. That's when I graduated high school. So I'm showing my age if that's old yet. But
no, that's cool. I graduated high school in like 2012. So
okay.
Yeah.
So when I was not on the campus anymore is when you started being there. So let's talk about a little bit of the birth of Black Directory. So you talked about your frustration of when you were moving, finding those type of businesses that you wanted to support. So what was the first step in starting something like this?
The first step for me was talking to my mom.
Okay.
And for some of those you may relate, but everyone has their sounding board, right? You have your person, whoever it may be, your husband, your wife, a friend, a mentor. But for every great idea I've had, I'm like, Mom, what do you think about this? Like it starts as a thought. And just to back it up a little bit more, I was actually at an event, and it was like a small event. I had a few vendors. I was supporting a friend that was a DJ, and I'm just talking to people. And someone was like, oh, I moved here a year before you. You should try this restaurant. Like we were exchanging information naturally, right? And then it was just that light bulb of like, this would be so much easier if this was in one place, because if I didn't meet you, I don't know if I would have figured out this information, because Google is kind of hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what planted the seed. So a few days later, I was telling my mom about that whole kind of conversation, and like, yeah, it would be cool if I can create something like this, because Mom, remember when I moved to West Palm Beach, I was going through the same thing. It's kind of like someone that knows your life. So you're kind of talking, speaking about it out loud. And she was like, you should just go for it and, figure it out. So that same day I purchased the domain name. Like the name was already in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I move very fast with ideas. Even if I don't go all the way, I at least try to like grab social media names, even if I have no clue what I'm going to do. I don't want to like fall in love with a name that's not available. So my first step is, let me just do some slight research. Like, okay, I'm thinking about this name. Is it trademarked already? Is it available? Let me look on social media. I always start with like that first layer of research, as far as like when it comes to the name, because I don't know, it's something about the name that kind of fuels the rest of the energy for me.
It does.
You agree?
Yeah. So I realized how valuable the name is when I was trying to get Rich State of Mind trademarked. And so I have to talk to my lawyer, because there's somebody that does Rich State of Mind clothing, but they just do clothing, where I'm more so real estate investing, consulting, mindset building, stuff like that. So we may have not overlap at all. Like I have some t-shirts, but that's not my main thing. So
right.
I was like, because I love the name, and it kind of has like a ring to it. My last name is Richie. So
That's
what
perfect.
what I should have did was what you did from the beginning. I should have just TM'd it from the jump, and then figure out what I do from moving on before somebody takes it, because you're right. The name is like, I like that. So, because I look at BLK Directory. Okay, what is that? And it makes me want to read about it. And then I'm like, all right, that makes a whole lot of sense. So I think it's pretty cool what you got.
Yeah, and I will mention that the trademark kind of came a little bit later, but I was like, okay, I already have an LLC. So it's like, I didn't really have to do that, but it was, okay, before I just go deep down this rabbit hole, is it available on social media? Because I hate that when you find the name and you have to put all sorts of underscores and, it's not going to stop a show, but you just want to know, what does this look like if I stick with this name and brand identity? But after that, like besides like that kind of surface level first pass of research, I start writing, because I went through a phase. I don't know if you've went through this before, where you're like, is anyone doing this? And if you see anyone kind of doing it, it's so easy to say, why should I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Someone's already doing this over here, or they've been doing it longer than I have. They already have a lot of users, or, I kind of went down like that kind of rabbit hole. So I took myself through an exercise. I make stuff up all the time, but I took myself through an exercise where I'm like, okay, write out all your ideas, like a brain dump, like put it all on paper. How do you see this growing besides year one? Because when you find yourself feeling, I don't want to say insecure, but just like imposter syndrome, whatever. Yeah, just like, I don't know, they're doing this, they're doing that. I didn't want to get too distracted with competition, because you have competitive research, but it's a very thin line where it can go into something else, and you're just comparing everything. And it helps when you can look at a page and know, no, this is why I started this. This is what made me want to do this. And this is my why. So that's kind of the exercise I did from the beginning, because I was kind of going down this weird path with like comparing. So yeah,
especially something that you feel like maybe is oversaturated, somebody's already doing. And I was actually just having a conversation with my father about this, because for us, like, finance and real estate, it's tons of content out there. But I truly believe that if you really believe in something and are very passionate about it, yes, will it take, longer and be harder to push through that niche? But I think people in today's world, we care about relationships. We care about, how genuine you are. So this is something that I can tell you're very genuine about. And there may be somebody else that's doing it, but I built a relationship with you from watching your videos, listening to your podcast, to where now, let's just say you're providing some type of paid service. I'm more willing to go to you because I trust you. I've listened to your content. I've seen your face. I see that, you're not Black Directory, but then you're like Caucasian. Like, okay, like or you're like, you're like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's some type of imposter type thing, or you're just trying to make money off of a particular niche, because people care about that.
It's crazy that you're saying that, because that's been a topic of conversation for like a month now, to where if you really look at the Black Directory page, like even the website still, but the Instagram page, for example, you don't see me until like 2 weeks ago. That was a new change that we made, because I had this whole like approach of, I don't want people to know it's me or who it is. I don't want, you don't know if it's a Black man or a Black woman or a group of 4 Black people. Like, you just don't know, right? Because I didn't want it to be about me or Twitter, or I don't know. I think I thought of the cons versus the pros.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this page where it doesn't matter who it is, like focus on what we're doing and all the good. And I had a conversation with someone recently, and they were like, I think people need to see you. I think it's time. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, why do you say that? And they were like telling me a personal story where we are in a place now, with George Floyd and just other things, where people are more vocal about supporting Black businesses, to me, more than like ever before. And you have these pages and they have all this Black content and they're selling merch and you're paying them. And then you find out in some weird way that this is not Black. And they were like, that made me as a consumer hesitant, because now I'm looking at all these pages like, is it really Black though? And then that made me think, oh, who is coming to Black Directory and having that thought of, okay, this looks good and all, but is it real? Is it a Black person behind it? So now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, it's okay to be present, but have a balance, and people know it's still not about you. You know, they're still paying attention to the output. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Of like, okay, I think I should show that, hey, I'm Black. This is real. So yeah.
I agree. I failed to ask, how long have you been doing this for now?
I started this in 2020. So March 2020 was, okay, I have the idea. I'm working behind the scenes. I'm getting the domain name. I'm building the website. Like, I'm getting all this together. In June 2020 was like the launch. And that wasn't the launch of the app. The app just launched in July last month. So it's been a long journey. It went from just the website, and not even the website that you see now. It was a different website. So it's been a long journey of trial, error. Okay, I have a website on WordPress. It's not working correctly. Me trying to find resources. It was so not bad, but
it's a process.
It's a process. It's a process. So it's I feel like we're just getting started, because it's been such a process to get to the point of, okay, we have an app now. I feel good about the user experience. Maybe because of Twitter and just how I am personally, like, I have a critical eye. I'm all into the user experience, and I'm trying to perfect that each time. So I feel like we're just getting to a point where I feel just super proud about what's going on. Granted, I'm always like, oh, we have to change that, like certain things, but I'm realizing that everyone may not look at it the way you do. And it's about just putting it out, and you're going to improve it and tweak it throughout time.
I have a question. So how are you getting businesses to, I guess, use your, should I say, funnel or directory? How do you attract those businesses to come to you?
So a few things. Social media, of course, right? Social media is such a vehicle. I have a team now, so we're creating just beautiful content, which helps in that consistency. But ads have been the main way and driver for me. And then now, somewhat a little bit more new is vendor events. So I had a vendor event in North Carolina a few weeks ago, and it's nothing like that in-person connection I'm seeing, because I launched in a pandemic. So there wasn't an in-person kind of situation going on. So it's kind of cool to somewhat be getting back to that, even though I have no clue what the future is, which is everything going on. But ads and social media has been the main way. And I'm hoping that this podcast, like reaching people through another avenue, can be a great way. But now I see just the ads and the Facebook page and all these different pages are really kind of working, so we're doing a lot of experimenting this year, just making reels and, testing, going on live and just trying to test different formats to see what works. So we're definitely in that period of, okay, how do we reach our people? And I realize Facebook is a gold mine with Facebook groups. So you have a Chicago Black businesses group and people, because what I'm realizing, to kind of go back to something you were saying, when you have that imposter syndrome and you're like, other people are doing this, the thing that I realized, which helped me, is like, okay, everyone doesn't have an app though, or everyone doesn't have a brand, like that brand identity, or, some people just have the Google Sheets. And I say that because when George Floyd died, I remember getting on Twitter and everyone was like, we have to support our own. And everyone was all hyped up.
Yeah.
And some people were sharing Excel sheets. Like, that's all that they had. And people are just doing it like that, and I realized, okay, I still have a place in this space for me to do my version of, connecting us to Black owned businesses.
And so once you do your ads, which I do want to talk about that in a second. So you do get your ads, you do social media, a lot of marketing. Once you get the business to use your services, how does that work? Am I paying to use your directory? At what point, or is this just straight up a nonprofit and you make money elsewhere using a different type of function? Can you please explain
that? Yeah. I can elaborate on that. So we went through, and other entrepreneurs may relate, but you kind of go through your different phases, right? So when we first wrote it out on the old website, I was like, okay, I'm going to have this package, this package, this package. And I realized very quickly, it's hard to charge for something that you haven't built that brand credibility with, and people don't know what it is. And you have to have the leverage. It's easier to charge for something when you can say, oh, we have 50, not even 50,000, but 2,000 users, or, things like that. Because what I wanted to go down that rabbit hole with is like, okay, you want to pay for a featured ad on the homepage, or, things like that. I was trying to figure it out. And then I had to really take some time and realize that it's a time and a place for all those things, right? For me, it is a little bit easier because I have a full-time job. It's harder when it's like, I'm out here and it's like, okay, I have to, it's that urgency, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a place where I'm like desperate for money, where it's like I'm forcing things that don't make sense at the time. So I had to really pull back and say, like, you know what, this is a temporary sacrifice, but I need to make this a free platform. We have to prove to people that we have to show them what they're even getting, like, hey, like, we have to make sure that this works. We have to make sure that people are actually able to connect, and we can make money on the event side, which the pandemic changed all of that. But more so, I want to get to the point where we're throwing events in, okay, the DC Black Directory members, let's do a workshop, let's do a panel, let's do this event, and, going that route, and then merch. So you have like podcasts where you can have, your sponsorships and things of that sort. You have your merch where you can make money through your merch. So that's my plan of like, you know what, instead of me like, hey, well, you have to charge, I'm charging X amount, and people are like, I'm not even bought into this yet.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? It's like, I know people because I know me, and I know how I would be. And I see what competitors are doing, but it's like, okay, it's like being okay with the season that you're in and the step that you're on. Like, I don't know where they started because I didn't see their beginning, but it's like, okay, if they have 15,000 businesses, it's a different kind of ball game. And that's when you go into like a lot of sponsorships and things like that. So that's my model right now. Like, it's free for the consumers to, browse on the app as a user. It's free for businesses to list, their business on the app. And I just want to build that trust and the relationships to where when we're like, hey, we have this event, they're like, okay, I want to go. Like, I want to be there. I support what you're doing. Let's do it. So I hope that answers your question.
No, it's smart. And I think that's definitely something, if that's probably the best nugget right now in this episode, is understanding where your business is at. Don't make a subscription or, sell packages when you don't have any leverage yet. Understand what you are. And maybe the first year or two will not be about you making money off of your services. And it's just about building the trust, like I mentioned earlier, of the people that will use your services. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's you just being very honest with where the stage that you are in your business. And people, it will grow because, like I mentioned earlier, it's a very genuine and it's a very passionate type topic that people obviously throughout the whole country, whether it's even before George Floyd, if you want to even go back as far as Trayvon Martin, or just the Black community, period, trying to just seem kind of being like the engine that could, trying to really support each other, right? It's always been a topic of discussion as long as I've been able to comprehend, Black lives or the Black community, and understanding that a lot of the doors that are opened, usually there is not somebody of our race at that door, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's and that's something that I realized when it came to real estate. So it's funny because sometimes some of the properties that we own, they're in Black communities, and it's interesting when you see another Black contractor or Black real estate investor, and we all kind of give each other the nod, like, hey man, what's up? What are you doing out here? Hey, yeah. And the first thing is, hey, we got to really keep this place ours. Make sure it doesn't get gentrified. Try to just renovate the homes. Don't let them just get dilapidated and allow somebody else to come in, and because they won't be the best interests are. So I definitely understand your thought process on that. When it comes to the marketing and the ads, how do you try to understand like this is what our budget is and this is how many people are gonna be able to reach? Because one thing for like I've done like Instagram / Facebook ads, and then I'll pay like $30 like just to see how it works. But I always realize that I don't make $36 back when I do my $36 ad. So how do you make sure that you get a good return on your investment, or enough for, not saying it doesn't have to be maybe money wise, monetary wise, but how do you make sure that you're hitting the right market of individuals to make sure you get a good amount of traffic back?
Yeah, I'm one of those people where I'm like self-taught, trial and error when it comes to the ads, like you, Facebook, Instagram ads. I haven't really touched like Twitter ads yet. I will soon.
Didn't even know they had ads.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I'm like, okay, I need to just learn. That's the best way to learn now, is like through YouTube or, just however you can, reading on it. So that's kind of like what I want to learn by the end of the year, just kind of see what that looks like doing an ad on Twitter. But I've definitely more so been on the Facebook and Instagram side of ads. And before I met my team, it was just me. And I was just spending money. I was putting ads on every kind of post, making all sorts of rookie mistakes. I didn't know it was a mistake at the time until my team was like, no, let's school you real quick. I was like, oh, like I see numbers and I see likes. So whatever, I wasn't really being strategic about the ads at all. I just knew this page is new, it has less than 100 followers. We have to, shout it out. That's how I was looking at ads, with the shout it out to the world. And when I met my team, and we can go into that, a little bit later, but when I met my team, they actually do this for a living, right? And that's something that I learned. I'm very into staying in my lane, even though I like to learn everything. So it's like fighting that, like I want to touch everything. I want to know how to do everything for myself, in case you don't have a team anymore. You want to, I don't know, I just like to have the skills. So for me, it was like letting them do them. And I had to trust. It was a big trust thing of like, okay, because the route that they took is we're not doing any more ads. And I'm like, what do you mean? We need to do ads. Like, I don't understand. And they were just telling me the importance of organic growth. And it's like, we need to see what people naturally like and what our users are naturally doing, like the followers that you already have, like, what are they typically engaged with, and like really studying what's already going on. And they made it super clear, because at this point, we were transitioning between this gap of like not really having a website and then the app not being ready. And it was this gap of time. And they were saying, you never want to do an ad without a clear call to action. Like where, like you have to think of beginning to end. What are we trying to get users to? Or, for some people, it's like, okay, I'm trying to build an email list, right? Or, but it can't be for no reason. I was just putting ads on things just for it to be in front of people. But it's like, where are they going? And I had to really take a step back of, you can't just throw money at things without a strategic plan. Okay, are we taking them to a list? We're not taking them to an app at this point. The website is, we're shutting that down and we're just focusing on social media growth. So for a while, we just stopped doing ads. And it just felt like I was deprived. I'm like, I just want to do an ad. Like I just wanted to solve things with money. Like, okay, well, I have a job. I can put $10 here and $15 there, and let's just see. So now we're finally doing ads because we have clear places for people to go, and we have our systems. When you don't have a system, it's really, you're doing yourself a disservice, depending on the type of ad, right? Sometimes you want visibility on a specific post, but now it's made me slow down to really think through, okay, am I trying to get more traffic to a website? Am I trying to get more website taps? Am I trying to get engagement? So now it's like a lot of testing. It's a lot of testing, because you could think your highest market is in Chicago, but they're in Memphis, right? So for me, I used to throw a lot of money. So now I start with the $5 to $10, and I'm doing a lot of testing. And I have a notebook where I'm writing down notes to see, okay, what's working for us? Because what works for my personal page on Instagram, like my business page for my brand, or what works for a friend, we don't have the same audience. It's a different age range. So now it's just being more intentional of I don't have to do 30, 40, $50 off the beginning if I don't know that this is going to work. Like, I don't know where. So now it's like that studying of, okay, now that we're doing ads again, you want to look at that engagement, how many people are actually clicking it, because once you get that ad right, what I realize is people are just doing retargeting ads. It's people where I see the same ad for them throughout the whole year because it works. When you find those ads that work, that's what you want to keep doing, because you're like, oh, wow, like this works. The copy works. The copy looks good. It's resonating with people. It's making people take an action, and that's what you want, versus I'm going to keep throwing money at something where no one's clicking on it. 1,000 people seen it. 2 people clicked it. Maybe we need to change the visual. Maybe we need to change what we're saying, or who, like the interest in the age, the ages and the location. So
yeah, that makes sense as far as having the same ad if it works, and it actually provides a little bit of familiarity with the market that you're trying to pinpoint. Because if I keep seeing the same ad over and over, and I liked it the first time, but maybe I ignored it, I'm gonna probably get around to it eventually, because I keep seeing the same sneaker and model.
It's repetition. You're like, oh yeah, I'm that type of person where if I see you enough and if it was genuine what you're doing, I will probably buy from you at some point without you having to DM me or sell to me. Like, it's already kind of back there, and it just takes the right time for me to see it again, where I'm like, oh, let me actually go and look on their website and see, what digital products that they have and things like that. And I don't know, I'm just one of those people where I'm always studying and just trying to learn, because you don't realize, especially when you go into the Facebook side of things, into the suite, like the crazy details, not just the Instagram boosts, but you see all the options for A/B testing and really comparing different audiences. And you can see, or what you don't know, what you have to figure out is, like, with my consumers, do they watch a certain show? Do they go to a certain place? Do they watch Housewives of Atlanta? Like, you don't know, right? So it's like, but if you do know and you can find that gold, you're good.
And so let's talk about your team. You said you met them. At what point did you realize you needed a team?
Oh my gosh, day one. Because I was still working, and I was very hesitant. I've always loved entrepreneurship. I can't wait to be a full-time entrepreneur, but I know it's a time and a place and a season for all those things. But I realized very quickly when it really, that social media side, oh my God, social media is a full-time job. I'm stressed out. I'm trying to design things on Canva, or I'm paying out all this money but I haven't even found my person. Like, you're paying people on Fiverr or whatever, but that's not really someone that works for you, or that kind of relationship. So right. I just felt like I couldn't find what our look was going to be. And it's like, I knew if I could get this social media, like, on someone else's plate to where they can help me, I can try to at least focus on, okay, this app, like the big fish to fry. Okay, the app and the networking piece, and okay, can we find partners, and how can we find funding? Like, those are the things that are important, but everything is important, right? Everything feels important at the same time. So what I did, which is funny, is I put out an ad. But even before I put out an ad, I knew I didn't have money to pay people because I haven't made revenue, right? This is like month 3, 4, 5 at this point, like the very beginning, maybe like in the summertime, maybe the end of summer. So of 2020. So I was like, okay, I noticed that some people took their approach of contributors. Some people, they have interns, like they do this kind of internship approach. For me, I wanted to do contributors. I had seen people kind of do that, and I just was hesitant because it's like, I don't have enough followers. Why would someone want to contribute to Black Directory if I don't have followers? I was really into the people don't know who I am. We don't have brand credibility yet. Like, because the people that were doing this approach, they had 10,000 plus followers on Instagram. So you have people raising their hand, like, oh, I would love to write your blogs or contribute and, whatnot. And I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to make a post in the best way that I can. I'm going to put an ad on it. And sure enough, that's how I found my team. And we've been working together to this day. And they live in LA. One of them, her name is Lauren, but she has an actual agency. She has 12 employees and they do this. I really got lucky because it's people that it's not a hobby. They do this professionally for a living. And so they're not like, I'm trying to train that, like they teach me, like they know what they're doing. One of them, they work for Barbie, like they do marketing for Barbie, like they do this and they're like, I see what you're trying to do with Black Directory. I feel connected to it. I'm going to help you. And I'm like, really?
That's what's
okay.
up.
So I've really gotten so lucky just to connect with them, but I'm glad I ran the ad. I'm glad I knew how to run an ad because I wouldn't have found them in any other way, in the internet space. So by me just kind of taking that step of, okay, I need help. I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to be transparent about where we are as a company, what I stand for, what Black Directory stands for. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, this isn't paid, right? They're like, yeah, I know, because it builds their portfolio for one, right? And, it benefits them too, because they get that credit of being a part of the growth of it. And that was enough for them. So when you look at the page, it's, I feel proud because I can now focus on other parts because I'm not, okay, we haven't posted in 4 days and I have to figure this out. They take care of me. They take care of Black Directory so I can focus on other parts of the business.
So a couple of things. You realized that you needed to delegate in order to elevate, or also you could say that you realized working on your business vice working in your business was a lot more productive, and you have two different teams that's helping you with that. What platform did you run your ad on, and what did it say?
I need to find it. It was on Instagram and it was so simple. It was just looking for blog contributors and social media contributors. I'm sure it had a decent caption. I went on some website and created a form, like an application form. I think I went on Zoho and I just pieced it together in the best way that I knew how, like, hey, are you, advocate for Black entrepreneurs, and just, really trying to just express, this isn't necessarily about one, fashion or this or that. It can be depending on what you're writing or what you're contributing, but this is for Black businesses and this is what we stand for. And it's crazy. I ran the ad. I think I put $60 on it. And I had 9 people apply. It wasn't even like it was a crazy list, but I had the right 3 people up there. And I didn't know that one person had a team of 12 people under her. So she's able to just pass that on to a sub team. They're able to do the visuals, the graphics every Sunday. I approve all the posts for the next few weeks. And, you just kind of built that partnership. And it's just, that's all I needed was that one ad.
And that's true.
And I look back at it and it's not even like super cute and, it's not, but it did what it needed to do. And that's something that I learned is things don't have to be perfect as long as it's authentic and it's transparent and people can feel the energy. And that's really what happened.
Yeah. I had a interviewee, name was Crystal Holiday. I was telling her this is when I first started the podcast, and I was telling her about the website coming up, and I was like, yeah, but I got to make sure it gets perfect before I put it out. She was like, put it out ugly. It's fine. Just is obviously, don't put out, garbage, but
right.
It doesn't have to be the most perfect thing. And you'll be surprised what happens after that. And you'll learn a lot as you go along. Because like you said, the way your website looks now is not how it looked at the beginning, but you put something out there.
Yeah. And I agree with you totally. It's like, I forgot what that quote is, but it's like your first product is never your last. Like your first one is just the first. It's supposed to be, it's the beginning, and it made me think about when we have apps, right? It's always an update for Instagram or Facebook. It's never that their first version is never the last version. We're always updating because they're figuring it out and they're realigning and let's do this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's take this out. And it's like, why do I think I'm going to be no different, or Black Director is exempt from that?
Exactly.
So yeah, the website does look different, but really the main difference is the website actually was like the directory was on the website and it was just selling to people. And it was just, it's like, no, I think I was thinking about like Uber or just certain companies where, they have their website, but the actual tool is on the app. So I was like, okay, it was a big decision of, do I want to have this live in a browser? And it's like, no, I think the best experience will be in an app. And then, yeah, it was just kind of, you're just going for things, you really don't know if it's right or wrong. Sometimes you're just kind of feeling your way through and trying to figure out what works best for your audience. And that's kind of what I've been doing. It's like, okay, let's try this, let's do that. But it's amazing to have a team, because it was hard doing it by myself for those few months. Like I had no clue what I was doing. It's hard starting an Instagram from scratch, anything from scratch, because it's like, it's just, I don't know. It's so annoying. It's like, okay, I don't have, you get so down into the followers, you get so caught up with that. And it's like, I have to worry about, I need to focus on the engagement and like the trust and the relationship.
With creating the app, who did you use? And you mentioned about how the app is, that's how people are able to see the other different Black businesses. What made you want to create the app? What made you think that the app was a better experience than a desktop?
I think I just did research, and it just seemed like people, I don't know, it seemed like people weren't going to that browser, or they were just getting lost. And it's just the way our website was, and clicking, it just was not honestly the best experience. And if I'm cringing at it, I'm like, no, we have to, do something different. I can't ignore, because you have family and friends, and you're seeing where they're getting stuck and they're not quite making it through the whole process. And I'm like, something just isn't right. So I think listening, reading between the lines, connecting dots, talking to people. And I'm like, let's just create a different experience. If an app is going to be better, I'm willing to pay, do what I have to do to make it make sense. I did get the app made on Fiverr, and it's funny, like when you're trying to resource things, it makes it even more evident of why we need Black Directory, because I didn't know where to find. I mean, technically, I didn't even know where to find a social media person, or the social media strategist and things like that. It's like you're just trying to. The internet could be like a big place. So when in doubt, for me, Fiverr is just what I knew. So I'm like, okay, let me go on Fiverr. I'm browsing. I'm just like, I don't know how to code, right? I'm staying in my lane.
Yeah,
if
sure.
If I try to train myself how to code, this could take forever. It already was long anyways, a long process, but it's like, okay, I need help. I need to find it now, because I need to get to my audience as soon as possible and give them this solution. So with my team, I kind of went the ad route with that. And then with the app, I went the Fiverr route with that. So I was always kind of finding different things. Some things are through word of mouth. So it's like, I'm just trying to figure it out, but it made me realize, oh my gosh, this is what I want with Black Directory. When people are looking for, to get their app made, I want them to be able to go to Black Directory and find what they're looking for, versus it could take months to find someone.
No, yeah.
You don't know where to start.
Was it expensive to make an app?
Yes, it was. It wasn't. So how much do you think an app will cost? Because I know for me, I was like, everyone thinks something different.
I would say $1,000 minimum.
Right. I did think it was going to be $1,000 minimum, but I did think for me, like, oh my gosh, the app is going to cost $10,000, but it was like $5,500, which is still a lot of money. But a lot of times they have like those installment plans. So I was just kind of like, you do your different milestones, your different phases, you make your payments, you kind of see what progress they have so far, and you kind of do that kind of song and dance. But yeah, it was very expensive, especially because it's not like I've merged and I have this money coming in. It was all from my paycheck.
Income. Yeah. And that's the thing, people, when it comes to being an entrepreneur and trying to start something from scratch, people are afraid sometimes of the risk, because they are starting off with their own money. A lot of us,
you have to do it,
and anything, right? And so we all have our dreams and passions, and so like, this is obviously something you're very passionate about. But what I want some people to realize is that, well, it takes money to make money. So what are you doing right now that's going to allow you to be able to provide the freedom and joy later on in your life. And so you're taking risks, you're investing your own money into it. And I believe that is going to work out for you because you're doing it very strategically and you're getting blessings along the way by having people that want to help you for free, very strategically in ways that people will probably spend hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars to receive that type of help.
I always say pay to play. Like that's my line. I'm like, I really believe you can't get so far with everything being free. Like right now I have a virtual assistant. I realize, okay, I need that. I have to pay for that, but it's worth it because I still have a job, but things don't stop on the Black Directory side. So it's like knowing, you have to really know and assess when it's time to get some help, because if you wear so many hats, like you can't be 100% on the, I think I see those memes where it's like, okay, I'm the finance person, I'm the administrative assistant, I'm the marketing person. It's like true, right? But what are you willing to sacrifice? Like I eat out a lot. I go to restaurants, but it's like, I know if I really want something, I could take it from here and do less of this. And it's like making those decisions. But I've always been one of those people where, of course, you have like investors, right? Angel investors, and you can kind of get into that or pitch competitions or sponsorships, corporate sponsorships. It just depends on what makes sense. But I always had this feeling of, I want to prove, like by the time I ask for something, people are going to give it to me because they're like, oh, wow, she's already invested $15,000 in her business or 20,000. Like it speaks volumes where you're willing to bet on yourself. You're willing to invest in yourself. So people are more willing to help you versus, well, I just have this idea and yeah, that's it. Like, it's like, I want to show them I've done quite a bit of work without someone giving me money. Like I've done a lot. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a huge sacrifice. And I think it speaks for itself now. And people are starting to see like, oh, wow, she's still doing this Black Directory thing. Yeah. Oh, wow, it's a podcast now. It's like that growth. You can see it. And I think that's really cool.
So speaking of your podcast, who are you interviewing? What's it about?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I guess it's obvious, but it's about Black businesses. And, I thought about a few different things, but it made the most sense. It's like, okay, for some people, they may not download the app, right? Or they see the Instagram side, but it's like, how can we tell Black stories? I love talking to entrepreneurs. So it's like, how can we make these conversations in a way where we can share it? Similar to you, like, you have this platform and it's storytelling. I look at podcasts as storytelling, and it's, well, for the interview style kind of format, but I just wanted to give, for one, entrepreneurs another way to be at the forefront. It's all about them. We're educating people along the way. We're laughing, we're joking, like we're creating this natural experience, but it's something that they can have that lives forever, right? You never know. Someone could come across an episode a year later, 2 years later, and that could be something that goes viral or just something that adds to their portfolio. Is different benefits to it. But overall, I like to talk, and it's, I just felt like this is something that it was always a part of the plan. Let's start that, say that. But I felt like this was the time to do it. And I just got started. And again, new territory. I feel like I'm always doing something new to where I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a mentor. It's just me. I do a lot of research. I'm a big researcher. So I research a lot before I do anything. Like, okay, how much is this equipment going to cost? What do I need? What platform should I be using? How do people connect the episodes to Apple and Spotify and all this stuff? And then my virtual assistant did help me as far as, okay, like Calendly, you hear about the tools, but okay, how can I make this work for me? As far as like the scheduling aspect. But what we did, we just created this list of Black entrepreneurs everywhere. So it wasn't really based on state. It was somewhat based on industry because we wanted to have a balance, but it was like going through Instagram mixed with people that maybe we know, mixed with who was in the old website, because we had an old website with members. So like, why don't we use the people that already are connected to Black Directory and tell their stories more? So it just kind of turned into something really cool to where, we have a bakery. It's called, well, not we, one of the members has a bakery in Oakland, and it's called Sugar Sweet Cookies and Cake Studio. And it's like, let's hear from a pastry chef. Let's hear his story. And his story was crazy. It was amazing. And okay, let's talk to this videographer from Charlotte, North Carolina, and they're working with Chris Paul and TNT. And so I think it just was us piecing together unique stories, unique perspectives, and just figuring it out. And it's really been so much fun.
I'm
I
about to
enjoyed
say,
it.
y'all do it all. You got a bakery.
Yeah, we have a bakery, and of course you have people where we have someone that creates nail polishes, and their nail polishes have been featured on Essence, and it's in Sally's beauty supply store and things like that. So it's like I want to diversify it for, as much as I can, and just find just those stories where it's like we can walk away feeling some type of emotion. Either we're feeling good, like, wow, I can do anything, or wow, that person dropped so many gems. I definitely try to make sure it's people that are open to speaking. You don't have to tell all your secrets, but open, like people that are wanting to share and wanting to give. So it's been fun. And I think like 15 interviews in 5 weeks. I just really wish, because I have a job. So it's like, okay, how do I make this make sense with what I have going on? But I've really enjoyed it so far.
Where can people find you? We've talked about your handles, but please tell us your social media handles and website, please.
Yeah, of course. So for the website, you can go to www.blackdirectory.com. That's where you can figure out or find more about us and who we are. You'll see some more information about the podcast as well. And you'll have the links to the app that'll take you to the iOS store or the Google Play Store. You can follow Black Directory on all platforms. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram and Twitter. And for my page, my name is Diamond Unlimited on Instagram. So you can find me if you want to see more about my journey with entrepreneurship, Black Directory, and the podcast. And of course, we're in the app. So if you are very supportive or even curious, just curious, you want to see what the app is about, download it. It's totally free. And that would be just so awesome for you to see, just be able to put a visual to what we were talking about today. So yes, we are in the App Store.
And then lastly, what I usually like to ask, and so we'll say, what is your big why, your passion as to why you're doing what you're doing? Or as we like to say, what is your rich state of mind? So
yeah, my rich state. Yeah. Thank you. My rich state of mind, or my why, is you have to be the change that you want to see. I don't want to sit on the sidelines and complain and Google needs to do better and what are we going to do? And it's so easy to just be on standby, be on cruise control, and it's time to take control. And that's my why. I wanted to actually put out my version to the world of what I want to see. And that gets me going. And it fuels me every day to get up and do this. I feel like you want to do things that you love and things that you would do for free. And I feel like I finally found that thing. So for me, it's just super fulfilling. And that's what gets me going, is wanting to connect people. That makes me genuinely happy of, wow, I went on your app and I found exactly who I was looking for. Thank you so much. Like that's my why. I'm
gonna have to download the app because to see what's in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. Because we talked about early before we started recording, as far as, kind of like maybe a bad taste or stigma on Black businesses, depending on what the experience was. Right. And I'll tell you my personal experience. I'm big on, in the military, we're really big on who can do the job. It doesn't matter what color you are. Right. We'll just do, you perform. All right, cool. You're up. But earlier when I was talking about how in the real estate game, there's not many of us. And when we do see each other, we're like, hey, what's up? So I try my best to support when I see other Black businesses in the area that's in the real estate realm. But what makes it hard sometimes is when they don't do good business. And it's just like, you want to keep supporting. But then you're like, but I'm also losing money when I keep supporting. And so I think when it comes to, I will say this, when it comes to Black businesses or just businesses in general, leave reviews. And so that way it helps filter out, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to make one a particular category demographic look bad because of one or two bad businesses. And so no, it's not Black businesses that are bad or unprofessional. It is just these
bad businesses.
It's just bad businesses. These Black, these are bad individuals, but the rest of these individuals are doing what they're supposed to do. And I want those businesses to be elevated as much as possible and brought to the limelight. So that's something I just wanted to keep people in mind.
No, I agree. And that was something where a feature in the app is ratings and reviews. I'm a rating and review kind of girl. Like before I buy anything from anyone, even if I'm traveling and I'm trying to figure out what hotel I want to stay at, I look at, that's just me. I have to see where I'm going, where my money is going, what type of experience I'm going to have. And of course you hope that things are accurate, but it takes us to be honest as well and hold ourselves accountable when we do ratings and reviews. And someone said that to me as well. Like, it's always that kind of conversation about, we may not be the best with customer service or things like that. And they said like they make a point to always give feedback, because it's like, I can never go back, right? But it's like, people do need to know like, hey, that wasn't the best customer service that I just experienced. Now, what do they do with that? That's the maturity of the business owner. And if they want to get better, but overall, it's like, oh, like, do I get feedback or am I like, because I've done both, or it's like, whatever, because, I'm not going to force myself to spend money with the same business if it's bad. I'm just not doing that. But I start off with everyone with like that clean slate of like, okay, what are you about? I'm going to give you a fair chance. And based on the quality of the food, or, it depends on what it is, but it's like, I'm going to judge it based on, I'm not going to like have it at a lower standard. I have a standard for where I like to eat, where I like to spend money. My clothes is not going to change. Right. But like you said, it is like, you want to find those gems and those cool businesses where it's like, oh, wow, that's legit,
Yeah. So Diamond, it's been a pleasure. And it's actually been it's a topic that I definitely appreciate, because it's a conversation that's in my household very often when it comes to finding Black businesses in the local area, or let's just say if I go to a new area, because in the military, we move a lot. And so it's funny, you made me smile when you was talking about trying to find a place to get your hair done. When I moved to LA, that was like the first thing I was looking for. It was a barber. And I'm thinking I had to go in the hood to like find a good barber. No, that wasn't the case. But if I had Black Directory, then back then, like 7 years ago, I'm pretty sure that would have been something that would have helped me and allowed me to not be wandering around for a whole month before I find that right.
A whole month.
Yeah.
No haircut. I mean, I don't know if he was doing it at home, but
no, I was just getting haircuts from bad barbers. And like, all right, I'm not going back to that place. So pretty frustrating. So, but thank you so much, Diamond. This is pretty neat. I can't wait for this episode to be published.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sticking with us from the start of the episode. Please share our show with friends and family, visit our YouTube channel, and view more of our content on richstateofmind.com. See you next week on the Rich State of Mind Show.